Good afternoon, everybody. We are in the kitchen, and I'm in the kitchen. And I just wanted to let everybody know what we're going to be making today. I'm going to try to talk slower so I don't get my words all tangled up. We're going to be making a brown sugar toffee pound cake. And it's going to have a caramel icing on top of it. So if you like that, now I'm going to tell you something. This cake has quite a few ingredients, in a sense, that a lot of people may not have. So you may want to get some of these items before you start to bake this cake. It has, you have to have Heath butter brickle pieces. And you use a whole bag in it. So make sure you've got these. And you have to have brown sugar. You have to have pecans. So that's the main things you got to have. If you got the flour and the sugar and the oil and eggs and baking powder, baking soda, salt, things like that are normal things you're going to have. But in a few minutes, we're going to start this cake, though, and you're going to bake it on 325. So preheat your oven to 325 before you start. And today we're going to be making it in a bundt pan. This is a bundt pan, and you cook it slow, and it varies in temperature. Sometimes it takes about 75, 80 minutes. Sometimes it takes 85. It just varies. You have to just judge it with your oven. And I start checking about 10 minutes before the time is up. And I just kind of put my finger lightly in the center of the bundt cake. Around the edges, find the center. And if it's still tacky feeling or something, it's not done yet. Give it a few more minutes. Check it again. And eventually it's going to get there. But this is a dense, heavy cake. It's very moist. So, and it's very rich. So this is a great cake to take to things like family get-togethers or church outings, dinners, things like that. It goes a long way. And if you love pecans and caramel and toffee and things like that, you're going to love it. But anyway, now this is not a sugar-free cake. But I am going to post a video, hopefully maybe today or tomorrow. I'm going to try to get it made. I'm making this cake for someone. They called and asked me, have you got anything made that I could take to a church get-together? And I said, well, I don't have anything, but I'll cook you one. I'll make one for you. And so we talked about different things, and I told her, I said, this one would be really good. It goes a long way, and it's very tasty. I've never had anything but compliments on this cake. Never. So if you like this stuff, stick around. We're going to make it in just a little bit. I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, we're fixing to get started. I've got my mixer here. I need to get out my other attachment. This attachment. I'm not going to put it on though until I get the stuff in there. First thing we're going to do is we're going to measure out the dry ingredients. We need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. 3 cups. And I just get out a cup like this and I rake it over the top. Sometimes it just depends. When I want the cake to be pretty precise, I'd scrape the top of it off. Some cakes it don't really, it's not as important. But sometimes. Now, there's my 3 cups. Set that down right there. Scoot that back because I've used that. Now, this is a half a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a half teaspoon of baking powder. Or pretty close, maybe close to 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. They go in next. Then we have 1 cup, not hardly a cup at the top, of white sugar. Then we gotta have 2 cups of brown sugar. So I'm gonna measure this out here. There's 1 cup. Now I don't pack this. I haven't packed it before, I don't think. I might put just a little bit more in that one. Brown sugar sometimes isn't hardly as sweet as white sugar. I don't know why. But it does add moisture to your cake. So if you want a good moist cake, adding a little brown sugar is always good for it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a whisk and I'm going to kind of, just in my mixing bowl here, I'm just going to kind of mix this up a little bit. I've got my phone on the newsstand here, trying to maneuver it around to work good. Now, I've got that kind of mixed up. We'll set that down there just a second. This is my recipe. You all can see what I do. I mark out and I change and I write all over my recipes. Okay, we've got 2 cups of brown sugar, white sugar, 5 eggs. We need 5 eggs. We got the flour, we got the baking powder, the salt. Now, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to add 1 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. 1 1/4 cup. And I've got it measured out right here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my buttermilk in here with it. And I usually use full fat buttermilk. So we're going to go up to a little over 2. I want to get it up to over about right there. Now, a cup of buttermilk. Let me put this in the fridge. We're going to put this in here and try to mix it up a little bit. Then we're going to put the eggs in next. When you put oil in your cups like this, the buttermilk and things like that don't stick as bad. They wash a little easier. Okay, now we're going to turn this on real low. Just going to try to get it mixed up. And I'm going to put the 5 eggs in right now. I usually stop and take a spatula and push this down because these mixers, although they're handy, they are notorious for not getting right on the bottom or getting the sides pretty good. You can't maneuver your mixer around like you can with a hand mixer. So now we're going to we don't want to overmix it. Now, the next thing, let's see. Let me see what I've got. We've got oil, brown sugar, sugar, eggs, flour, got the salt, baking soda, baking powder, buttermilk. The only 2 more ingredients. And that is this pack of toffee here, these toffee bits. We're going to put them in there, a whole pack of them, if I don't spill them everywhere. I don't think I got them too many places. I'm sure Katie will find it if I do. It's not chocolate, so it won't hurt her. Now we need a cup of chopped pecans. And right there it goes. And I always do a generous cup because I think they make the cake better. Now, we're going to turn this on slow. We're not gonna whop it up real good. Okay, now let's get the mixer blade off. Let me get over here just a little bit where y'all can see. I'm trying to get it where you all can see a little better. This is always a pain to get off of here. See, now I get my spatula. I always like to try to get the best I can off of it. Sometimes it's depends on how thick the batter is. This has kind of come off pretty good. Now, let me set this over in the sink. Rinse my hands off a little bit. Get the sticky off of me. Let's see. I think that's all of it. Now the next step is putting it in this bundt pan. Let me get my bundt pan over here. And maybe let me spray it with some... Whoops, I forgot to put my flour thing back in my flour. That's my little scoop. I can't do without that in there. Get some of this stuff out of the way here. Now, I'm going to spray the pan. This is the best bundt pan I have ever used. It does not, I've never had anything stick in it. This cake here though, I'll tell you, because it has the toffee bits and all this stuff in it, make sure you spray this well. Because it does kind of want to stick a little bit every once in a while. So I've made this several times. But this is a good thick batter. Now let me turn you around this way. Let's see. Let's scoot you back. Scoot this back and scoot the pan over here. I'm going to try to get this poured in here. This thing is heavy. So let's get it in. My friend Marty always knows that I'm either baking something, cooking something, or I've got something that's about ready. And she first said, "Have you got anything sweet made?" I said, "Well, I don't have anything made, but I could sure whip something up." Now, let me get this scraped around here. I'll tell you what, my arm affects how I do this sometimes. Now you can see, this is a big bundt pan, and it's plumb full. And we're going to put this in the oven at 325 and bake. So we'll see what happens in a few minutes. I'll tell you exactly how long I had to bake it, but I'm guessing it's going to be at least 75 or 80 minutes. And then we'll come back later on when it cools, and we'll make the caramel a topping to go on top of it. So we'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, guys, it just came out of the oven, and it took 75 minutes to bake on 325. And I did put a foil tint over the top of it about halfway through to keep, when it has a lot of brown sugar in it, sometimes they'll get too dark. So you put your aluminum foil tint just like this and just lay it over the cake like this. Let me turn you around like this. In the oven, you just keep it over it and it keeps it from getting too brown. But there it is. That's the cake. And I'm going to let it cool for about 15 minutes. And then I'm going to turn it over on the wire rack and let it finish cooling. Then in a little bit when it's cool, I'll make the caramel icing to go on top of it. So I'll be back then. Okay, I just got the bundt cake out of the pan. And you can see that with those toffee bits and stuff in it, you can't leave it in the pan too long. About 10 minutes is about it. And you want to get it out of the pan because it does want to kind of stick to it. But you just I just turned mine over on the rack and just kind of lift it up, eased up on it until it come out. But every once in a while it might stick just a little bit. So, but anyway, it turned out pretty good. You can eat it just like this if you don't want to add the caramel to it. But I usually make the caramel and put on it. But I'll do that in another video if you want to. And but you can also, if you don't want to put caramel on this one, you could put milk chocolate or butterscotch. Ganache, or you could even put a caramel that you buy at the store if you wanted to just put a little caramel drizzle on it. If you've ever bought ice cream topping like this, this is of course a lot lighter than this caramel I'm going to make, but you can buy this, just the caramel topping, and just make a small drizzle on it, and that works fine too. But anyway, that's what the cake looks like. And I wish I could taste it for you, but I can't. So she might get mad if I cut a piece out of her cake. But anyway, I'm going to get off of here, and you all have a good day.